The Soros connection right off the top of the broadcast in the tease of the show. Everybody who listens to us, they know that name. They know it means something going on. Tell people, and I know your blog walks through it too at aclj.org, what is going on in Albania.
Our Secretary of State to put travel sanctions on the leader of the Conservative Party in Albania. Out of the blue, this came up. And when you look, and what I tried to detail is that the conservative leader that we're talking about, Mr. Berisha, has been one of the most vocal critics of George Soros in the Balkans.
What is George Soros interested in doing in a country like Albania?
On my piece at ACLJ.org, I show how the former president of Albania has been critical of George Soros and therefore is getting this pushback from our Secretary of State, I believe at the request of George Soros.
Blinken's parents have a foundation within, or to tell people. I mean, I just wanted you to repeat that. It was in the first segment because it shows the personal ties to Blinken and Soros through this financial giving.
Antony Blinken, our Secretary of State's parents, have funded the Blinken Center for Data at the Open Society. They've given so much money to George Soros that the Center for Data is all about the Blinkens. It's named after the Blinkens. They are in charge. And that relationship creates some questions.
You get benign names, Open Society. They sound like they kind of be neutral, arbiters of information, pro-democracy, if you will. Nice titles, but now that it's kind of had time to really flesh out who they are. They are hard leftist, and Soros and really the individuals behind him is like Rick said. He's got the right to fund it and the right to do it as long as they're following the laws of these different countries. But they exert maximum influence through this billionaire.
You should recognize that the Open Society constitutes a bait and switch effort by leftists. It is essentially a Trojan horse by pro-communists who believe in a world controlled by totalitarian experts. And so here we have an outrageous move by Secretary of State Blinken to interfere with the nation-state of Albania. It represents a globalist effort that has been 40 to 50 years in the making, and it has been largely advanced by George Soros.
Andy, you oversee a lot of our office overseas, and our office in Strasbourg, France. They did a significant a report that they've been working on for years that they ultimately released on the influence of George Soros and the international courts.
What we have been doing here recently is exposing the influence that George Soros has, as you said, on the judges who are selected to sit on cases that are heard by the ECHR, the European Court of Human Rights. These judges have very slippery rules about withdrawing, that is, recusing themselves from cases that they hear. And we have exposed the fact that many of these judges have been part of non-governmental organizations and other sympathetic left-wing liberal leftist groups that have been funded by Soros. Soros sees that they get on the court, they get elected to hear cases, selected, I should say, to hear cases on the court. They don't withdraw, they don't recuse themselves, and they come out with decisions that you can imagine are pro-leftist and pro-George Soros, and it is an alarming thing.
They have a singular vision to dominate the world and to control each and every aspect of our lives through either political force, military power, or mandates that may or may not be constitutional.
George Soros and this influence he is trying to assert, and as Rick Grenell said, it's not that he doesn't have a right to do that as long as he's following the rules, but that, we need to counter that, expose that, and of course, sometimes it does cross the line. I mean, when every judge, and we were going through that through the European Court of Human Rights, and they were looking at so many of these judges, such a high percentage were directly related to Soros. You could kind of see where the outcomes were going to be because they were all connected to this singular source. Then you have our current Secretary of State, whose family is directly connected to Soros through financial ties, through supporting the Soros Open Society Foundation and having this a Blinken Center